Imagine falling for someone you've never even met in real life. You have everything in common, and it feels like you're soulmates. You chat every day online, and the conversation always flows. Everything seems almost perfect. The only problem is that this person you've been chatting with thinks you're someone else. March 2017 was when I made one of the biggest mistakes of my life. I had made a Tinder account, mostly to kill time, but also to see what all the fuss was about. All my friends had been telling me about how great it was because they got to meet a lot of new, interesting people. Some of them even ended up dating. I was curious at first, but also a bit worried. I wanted to try it out, but I didn't want to use my real photo on my profile because there were a few guys from my high school who were on Tinder, and I didn't want them to know I was on there too. I found a random account of a girl on Instagram, took 3 of her pictures, and then uploaded them onto my Tinder profile. I pretended to be someone else, something I know now you should never do. At first, I just wanted to see what types of people were out there. After 80 or so swipes, I managed to match with a few guys and we started chatting. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong at the time because I was planning to delete the profile later that day. However, I came across a guy on Tinder named Kenny, and we seemed to really bond. I gave him my phone number so we could continue to chat. I couldn't give him any of my real social media links because of the fake account I was using on Tinder. "Why can't I see your profiles?" he asked. I needed to come up with a reason and quickly. We had been in the middle of a back and forth conversation, and to pause at this point would no doubt make him suspicious. My excuse for not having any social media accounts was that I simply didn't like how invasive social media was on everyone's private lives. He seemed to buy it. In fact, he agreed with me that sites like Facebook and Instagram encourage narcissism. We chatted for about 2 weeks, and then one night, we decided to talk over the phone. That's when I started to fall for him. We really clicked. We were able to talk about anything, and there was never a dull moment. I know it sounds stupid because we never met in person, but there was something about that phone conversation. It felt like he was my soulmate. A few days after the call, he asked me to go on a date with him to see the movie Wonder Woman. I desperately wanted to go, but I couldn't. I had told him so many things about myself, but I hadn't revealed my true identity. He didn't even know what I really looked like. I wanted to tell him everything, but I was in too deep. I knew things wouldn't work out between us if he found out that I'd been catfishing him. Another concern was that he wouldn't find me physically attractive. I knew he was the kind of guy who cared about that sort of thing. He once told me he would only date girls who are a 7.5 or above out of 10 in the looks department. I know that personality is more than looks, and that I should have just stopped chatting with him after he said that. But I really liked him, so I decided to stay in contact. I foolishly agreed to meet him for the movie, but then I didn't turn up. I thought that he'd get the message and forget about me. But he didn't. He messaged me and called me constantly, pleading for me to give him a chance. He assured me that he wasn't mad because I stood him up. He just wanted to see me. "Please, we get along so well. It would be great to finally see you." I ignored him at first, but eventually, I had to give in because my feelings for him were too strong. We went back to chatting like we used to, but I never had the courage to tell him who I really was. Every night, I told myself I would tell him tomorrow, no matter what, but when the next day came along, I always got too scared. I didn't want to lose him, and I know he didn't want to lose me either. I knew he liked me because he confessed to me over the phone about his true feelings and intentions, but I couldn't bring myself to tell him the truth. Fear kept me imprisoned. Since we had spoken for so long, but had never met in person, his friends started to suspect that I wasn't who I said I was. "She's probably an old man," said one of them. "I bet it's your ex playing games with you," said another. To put their suspicions to rest, I made some fake accounts on Facebook and Snapchat. I told Kenny that I had deactivated them a while ago due to privacy issues and time wasting, but I was willing to put them back up if it meant that his friends would trust me. I know this was a stupid thing to do, but I didn't want to lose him. I enjoyed his conversations way too much to just give up. Just talking to him made me feel happy and at ease. He was always so positive. We continued to talk for another 5 months or so. I was living a double life, and I knew I had to get rid of the one that wasn't really mine. It was tearing me apart. Like his friends, he became suspicious of me because I kept telling him I was unable to meet up. I always came up with excuses to not meet him, like, "Oh, I have a family gathering," or "I have university and work," or "I haven't finished my assignment yet." Deep down, I really did want to meet him, but I knew it just wasn't possible. I knew I wasn't the type of girl he would date. I wanted to stay friends with him online at the very least, but it already felt as though we were dating. I knew it would only be a matter of time before he insisted that we get together. And then, that inevitable day came. He demanded that we meet up. "I've had enough of this," he said. "You can't keep doing this to me." He went as far as to schedule a date and threatened me by saying that if I didn't meet up with him, he would track my IP address to see where I lived and would pay me a visit. He also told me that if I didn't agree to meet up with him, he would end the friendship. This made me so scared. I didn't know what to do. I really wanted to confess who I was, but I didn't want to get rejected. I knew that lies would disgust him, and he would be devastated. I was trapped in a web of deceit. On the day he scheduled the meetup, I went to the arranged meeting spot, but I couldn't bring myself to approach him. I watched him from afar, too scared to go up to him and tell him the truth. The longer he waited, the sadder he looked. I told myself he didn't deserve someone who was deceitful like me. He deserved someone who was honest about who they were. That night, I cried myself to sleep. I had lost the most important person in my life, and he didn't even know who I really was. I knew it was my own fault for leading him on. I deserved the pain I was feeling, but he didn't deserve the sadness I'd given him. I received a text from him the next day. It was a long message, and he said, "I know those pictures aren't you, but I fell for you because of your personality. I did not want to tell you that I knew it all along, because I knew you probably had your own reason for not telling me. That's why I kept telling you that I don't care about what you look like. I just want to see the girl behind all the phone calls and text messages. I never cared about your looks because you have a beautiful heart and a wonderful personality." Reading this broke my heart. I wish I had come forward about who I was, because I wouldn't have lost someone I loved so much. Kenny, I know you watch videos on here, and I just want to say that I am so sorry. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, so I won't ask for it. I just want to say that I'm thankful. I had the chance to meet you, and I regret that I never gave you the opportunity to truly meet me.